Welcome back. So this summer, thousands of people from around the world will come to Oregon for the World Athletics Championships. Eugene is already starting to get ready. Organizers say around 200,000 people should visit Eugene and the University of Oregon campus for this event, which is happening July 15th through the 24th. Hotels in the area are already booked, so people are trying to look for rooms and places to stay outside of Eugene. That means transportation officials are setting up shuttle services into town.
The one group that I know for sure that has packages available right now is Corvallis. And so they've got two different bus providers that have put together packages where people can buy a 5-day or a 10-day package where they're shuttled down here during the day and they have an option to go back midday.
Peace Health Rides, a bike sharing program, is also expanding its operations in Eugene ahead of the event and focusing on the Autzen Stadium area. Organizers are working on a new park and ride location as well to reduce car traffic near the competition arenas. That'll be a fun summer. Hey, before we go today, we have some good news with our KGW Great Food Drive. Your generous donations have helped us raise more than 1.2 million meals, and now we are trying to raise 1.5 million. So there is still time to donate, and an easy way you can do that is just by donating at any Safeway. You can give whatever dollar amount you want at the checkout counter. To see all the ways to donate, or if you need assistance, you can visit kgw.com/food drive. We'd also like to thank Pacific Office Automation, local Toyota dealers, Rivermark Community Credit Union, and Safeway for supporting this year's food drive. Well, that's it for us here at 4. Laurel and David are here with KGW News at 5.
First at 5, the man accused of shooting 5 people at a Portland park last month, killing one of them, made his first court appearance today. 43-year-old Benjamin Smith faces murder and attempted murder charges. The victim killed was 60-year-old June Knightley. Friends say she was a regular at local protests and was at a racial justice demonstration the night of the shooting. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. After the shooting, Smith spent more than a month hospitalized, though he's now recovered enough to go before a judge. Let's go to Tim Gordon at the Downtown Justice Center. Tim, Smith has been in hospital the whole time because he was shot and injured.
Right, David, and prosecutors say someone else shooting Smith is what ended the threat to others. Now, we reported earlier this week that Smith was moved from the hospital to the jail here downtown as the indictment came down. This was Benjamin Smith's first appearance before a judge, appearing via video and sitting in a wheelchair. He's facing a 9-count indictment that includes first-degree murder and attempted murder charges. The 43-year-old is accused of opening fire on a group of people gathered for a protest in March at Normandale Park in Northeast Portland on February 19th. Witnesses say Smith came from his nearby apartment that night and started harassing people at the gathering, yelling at them to leave. And people basically told him to leave them alone. In court documents, investigators say that Smith, called the defendant, continues to yell at participants and a few moments later draws a handgun and fires at multiple people, striking 5. It goes on to say the shooting ended when defendant was shot in the hip area. June Knightley was there to help with traffic control for the march. She was shot in the head at close range and died at the scene. The 4 others were taken to the hospital, as was Smith. We visited Normandale Park on Thursday, where there is a memorial set up for Knightley. A young woman came to light some candles, saying she was one of the injured shooting victims. She was not up to an interview. But we spoke with a woman who did not want to be identified. She described what the shooting has done to those living in the area.
You know, it's just set up a new fear in the whole neighborhood. And it's a shame because of one person causing all this chaos and hurting and killing people.
She was also interested to see what Benjamin Smith looks like.
I'm waiting to see a photograph of him to see if I have talked to him before.
So here is another look at the accused murderer in court. After the proceeding, those connected to the victims in this case got some questions answered by a jail deputy. Not all could be here, including one of the shooting victims who was shot in the neck and reportedly paralyzed by the injury. Smith entered a not guilty plea today. The judge did not set bail. His next court appearance is May 5th. Laurel?
Thank you, Tim. And gun violence hit close to home here at KGW today. One person was hurt following a shooting this morning in the Goose Hollow neighborhood. It happened at Southwest 14th and Jefferson, right in front of our KGW building. Our security footage shows several people on the sidewalk who appear to be talking or arguing, and then you see the flash from a gunshot. Officers arrived about 6 minutes later and provided first aid until the paramedics got there. Police say the victims should survive their injuries. They also say the suspect is 29-year-old Gabriel Harrison and faces an attempted murder charge. We don't know what led up to the shooting, and nobody at our station was hurt or involved in any way.
Pretty scary when it's that close. In Washington, Governor Jay Inslee signed 3 gun safety bills into law. Starting July 1st, no one will be able to purchase magazines in that state that hold more than 10 rounds. So another bill prohibits the open carry of firearms at school board and city council meetings, along with election offices. And the third bill bans the homemade manufacture of so-called ghost guns. Now, those are firearms that typically don't have serial numbers. They're hard to trace. The governor says the new laws are in response to a rise in gun violence, both in Washington, here in Oregon, of course, across the country. Republican State Senator Phil Fortunato, one of a handful of legislators who opposed those bills.
We need to be going after the criminal, not the law-abiding gun owner. And all of this stuff that they're doing goes after the law-abiding gun owner.
Washington now joins 9 other states, including California and New Jersey, that restrict magazine capacity size. Violations would be a gross misdemeanor and/or a maximum fine of up to $5,000. Well, take a look at this video, or these pictures, I should say. Police say a speeding car launched through a Lake Oswego home. It took out a chunk of the second floor and the roof. Police say the driver was traveling at least 100 miles an hour around 5 o'clock yesterday evening off Burgess Road. Now, Burgess, you'll see it here, makes a sharp 90-degree turn to the right, but instead of turning right, this car kept going straight. After colliding with the roof, the vehicle plowed through a wrought iron fence, took out a tree, rolled on its side, and ended up near the neighbor's back deck. The driver is in the hospital. No word on their condition or the cause of that crash. Wow.
President Biden in Europe today announced more military support for Ukraine in their war against Russia, more sanctions on prominent Russians, and plans to take in up to 100,000 Ukrainian refugees in the U.S. The president also pledged another $1 billion in humanitarian aid to Ukraine. This all came after an emergency NATO summit in Brussels. NATO leaders are promising to double their military presence in member nations near Ukraine and to send more defensive equipment to Ukrainian forces.
NATO has never been more united than it is today. Putin is getting exactly the opposite what he intended.
Addressing the summit by video, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying just today Russia used phosphorus bombs killing civilians, though the U.S. has not confirmed that. Zelensky told the NATO alliance if it stands for peace, it must do more to save innocent lives. The owner of a local Russian grocery store is hiring Ukrainian refugees. She says she wants to do everything she can to support that community. Our Bryant Clerkley joins us from Roman Russian Market in Southeast Portland with more on this effort to help refugees. Bryant?
Hey, Laurel. So Roman Russian Market is like a staple in the Eastern European community here in Portland. And the owner, Fatima Magomedova, says that she's using all her resources to help Ukrainian refugees. Fatima immigrated to the United States from Chechnya over 20 years ago, so she says she understands the Ukrainian situation. She has some of the refugees living in her home, and she's helped others find housing as well. Olga left Ukraine about a month ago, right before the war. She was a lawyer over in Ukraine, and now she's grateful to have a job at Roman Russian Market.
I'm grateful for America for help, for support, and I'm grateful for support me and all Ukraine. It's I very love Ukraine, and I very worried. I cry every night because it's very hard. All my relatives now in Kyiv under bombs, under rockets.
Fatima has 5 Ukrainian refugees working in her store as of now, and she's willing to hire more as they come to the United States. And Fatima also has helped them with their statuses here in the United States, and she also helps them with finding attorneys and things like that to get over here. Back to you guys.
Great to hear. Bryant Clerkley there reporting. Thank you, Bryant. Well, UN officials estimate some 10 million Ukrainians have been displaced from their homes, and many have been forced to make a difficult decision to leave or not leave behind their pets. In Washington, some people are now headed overseas to help care for all those animals any way they can. Here's Eric Wilkinson with our sister station in Seattle.
Gloves, looks like we have some sponges, some pads.
Tana Axtel is preparing for a mission of mercy on her way to Poland to help the lost animals of Ukraine. Countless family pets and other animals have had to be left behind as refugees run for their lives to escape Russian bombs. Defenseless animals like these would have been left behind to starve or freeze because people simply couldn't care for them any longer.
Okay, let's go.
Tana fosters pets here at home and is now heading to the Ukrainian border to help care for the dogs, cats, and other animals of war. She's working with the Poland-based Ada Foundation, which cares for needy animals. Tana says she wants to comfort the animals that have brought so much comfort to their people their entire lives.
I feel sorry for the animals, but I also feel so sorry for the families that are leaving them behind. And I know that, my pets are my family. And the thought of that happening to me is I just couldn't imagine.
Eric Wilkinson reporting there. Tana and a friend say they actually have not bought the return leg of their flights yet because they're planning to stay as long as they can to help out. And boy, do folks need help.